Hi, I'm Tinny from Meanbull Design, and today I'm going to talk about my last video. I evidently didn't make myself completely clear, and there's a lot of things I left out, so I've gone back and looked the video over. First off, I didn't mean to say that nobody makes a sleeping bag without the insulation on the bottom. What I actually meant to say was I wasn't aware of anybody that made one. There's kind of a difference there, but it wasn't real clear on the video, so I could see that. But I wasn't aware of it, and now that I've looked at the comments, gone back, I see that there is several people that do it, and they actually put a pocket in the bottom for a sleeping pad to slide right into so it captures it. That's a good idea. Okay, now getting back to the Insultex pad that I am building. Some people had some problem with the math on that, so before I did that video, I looked at everybody that was working with Insultex, and 99% of them were using it as an underquilt. Now, I looked at all the different ones that people were making, which I thought were extremely complicated to build. There was a lot of sewing in them and cover things, and you know, I'm pretty sure I couldn't have done it. And from what I've talked to Sue and Beth, they told me, no, I won't do that. It's too hard to work with. So anyway, the lightest pad underquilt that I saw that anybody was making, and if I'm wrong on this, leave me a link to a place that's got a lighter one, was 1 pound. Some people were just over 1 pound. Some people might have been, you know, like a half an ounce, but basically averaged out to 1 pound. The pad that I am building, doing the math on it, will weigh 10 ounces. That's a full 6 ounces lighter than the lightest underquilt. Okay, second thing was compression. Now, everybody tells me that Insultex, once you lay on it, you've lost it. That would be an assumption. Actually doing a little more research on it, it has a layer in the middle that's impermeated with air bubbles, and that's where the actual insulating quality is. Now, when you lay on it, as long as you don't severely compress it by, you know, like this, just with your body laying on it, that center section does not compress. It maintains its air gap with all the air bubbles in it, and that's where your actual insulation comes from, and by the way, also where your flotation comes from. Because I think 18 square inches of this will hold up a person in the water as a life vest. That's because that layer is full of air bubbles, and that's what creates a buoyancy. So this actually has a layer in it, even compressed when you're laying on it, that still has that layer. Now, one layer doesn't amount to anything, but when you start piling them up, they do add up and add more and more R factor as you pile them up. I found 6 was enough for me in the hammock, but I went with 2 more, so if it even got colder, I'd be better. I suspect that this will be good down to close to, maybe down to 30 degrees, maybe more than that. Okay, now the third point here, I think, is people are saying, well, 8 layers, that's just insanity. Okay, that's an assumption. Let's look at the facts. Now, when you take 8 layers and just sew them together and they're all fluffed out and there's air between them, they're like this thick. But when you actually put them down and put a little pressure on them until you go down and take all the air pockets out of them, take them down, so you just got 8 layers piled on top of each other. So you've got 8 layers of this material that has the air bubbles in it, which is a very good insulator. Each layer is a half a millimeter, so 8 layers would be 4 millimeters. 40 thousandths to a millimeter, that'd be 160 thousandths. That's less than 3/16 of an inch. So now we're talking a pad just big enough, like this wide, down 3/4 pad that weighs 10 ounces. When packed in your pack is 3/16 of an inch thick and weighs 10 ounces. That beats any underquilt right out hollow. That's all the way around. The underquilts won't compress down because of all the fabric on the outside of them and the suspension and everything else. They're not that light. They're at least 1 pound. And my last point is, and this is a big sticking point with me, underquilts are complicated. They have draft tubes in them. They have to seal on both ends. And because the hammocks are pleated when, like a war bonnet comes down, it doesn't come down smooth. It comes down with all kinds of pleats. you can't seal against that, so the air is leaking through these all the time. You've got suspension that has to go, and you've got draft tubes, and you have trouble keeping it up on the sides, and it covers a much bigger area than it needs to, just because of the physics of the whole thing. I don't think underquilts are the answer. I really, really don't like underquilts. They're expensive, they're complicated, they're just a pain, but they are the best thing we have right now. I think that underquilts in the end are not going to be the answer at all. I suspect when we get all done here, one of two things are going to happen. We're either going to have a high insulation quality material that just velcros onto the bottom of the hammock, or somebody is going to put chambers in the hammock, so you can sit right in the hammock and blow these chambers up like an inflatable air mattress and insulate it that way. And I think that's probably where it's going to go. Is eventually somebody will take a fabric, maybe Cuban fiber, which is, I believe, airtight, and have it so you can blow it up, probably just with your mouth, like a regular air mattress, and create insulation that way. If it's sewn in correctly, that would work fine, and that would be much, much easier and probably much more effective than goofing around with all the suspension system and everything. And my last point is, out of the 44 comments I got on the last video, it was 44 last time I looked, probably at least half of them, maybe more, were the exact same thing right over and over again. Big Agnes makes a ground pad without insulation on the bottom. So when you leave a comment, it's probably a good idea to get down and read a few underneath and kind of get the feel for it. Because if you leave a comment and you look down and 10 other people have left the exact same comment, it's kind of like being a lemming. You know, just kind of look at the other comments, and if you see somebody's already put down what you're thinking, don't bother, because it's just a repeat. It's just the same thing right over and over and over again. Try to put in something fresh. And if anybody knows where I can buy Insultex, Insultex, on sheets, so I can use not something built from it, but actually buy the raw material so I can finish my pad, leave a comment and let me know, because I can't find anybody. The one place I was buying it from, and I left it in another video, it's DIY something, they're out of stock, and I don't know when they'll have it back in again. So if you know someplace where I can get the Insultex to finish this, let me know. And once again, just to cap this off and repeat myself, the pad will weigh 10 ounces and be 3/16 of an inch thick. And I believe that beats anything anybody's come out with so far. The only concern I have at this time is that maybe I may sweat on it and have condensation. I don't know until I lay it. I've laid in it for like 20 minutes on the bed and out in the hammock, and I haven't experienced that, but that's, if any problem crops up, I suspect that'll be the one. So 10 ounces, 3/16 of an inch, you got to admit, that would be a great pad. Fold right up and go right into your pack. Circular, there's a spine in your pack, nice and soft against your back. I think it's the way to go. I'm Tinny from Mini Bowl Design. Get out and hike, take a friend, enjoy the great outdoors, and more important than anything, be nice, leave no trace, and have a really great day. Bye-bye.